Captain Elias Vorn stood at the edge of the landing platform, staring at the alien world stretching before him. Jagged cliffs jutted toward a green sky that shimmered with streaks of violet light. The air shimmered with energy, making the fine hairs on his arms stand on end. Humanity had always feared planets like this, wild, untamed, and possibly deadly. But Elias had never been one to follow fear. He had spent his life exploring the unknown, walking where others refused to step. "Captain," his assistant called from behind, "sensors show movement near the cliffs." Elias did not turn. He was already moving toward the rocky terrain, boots crunching on the strange, crystalline soil. The landscape seemed alive. Every step made a faint glow pulse beneath his feet, as though the planet itself was aware of his presence. "Careful," he muttered to himself, scanning the horizon. "Nothing moves like this naturally." He had barely taken 10 steps into the alien wilderness when the first challenge appeared. A massive creature, its body covered with translucent scales, lunged from the shadows. Its eyes glowed like molten gold, and its long claws scraped the ground. Elias barely rolled out of the way, feeling the wind of its swipe brush past his shoulder. He raised his pulse blaster and fired. The creature screeched, retreating into the glowing forest. "Too close," Elias whispered, his heart racing. He pressed a small button on his wrist device. "Scan the area, track anything else moving." As the device hummed, a figure appeared in the trees. Elias froze. She was humanoid but taller than humans, with pale blue skin that shimmered under the violet light. Her hair floated as if underwater, and her eyes were sharp and golden. She carried no weapon in her hand, yet she moved with a confidence that told him she was dangerous. "Who are you?" Elias asked, raising his blaster slightly. The alien woman stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "I am Lyra, princess of the Zypharian Empire. I mean no harm." Elias frowned. "The Zypharians? That's impossible. You're light years from your territory." Lyra's eyes did not waver. "I followed you. You are part of something bigger than you know. If we do not act, both our species may face extinction." Elias tightened his jaw. He did not fully trust her, but there was something in her presence, an air of truth and courage that human instincts recognized. Before he could respond, a rumble shook the ground. A pack of 4 massive predators, each the size of a small truck, burst from the forest. Their glowing eyes focused on the human and the alien princess. Elias fired his pulse blaster, each shot striking with precision. Lyra moved like a shadow, weaving through the attackers with impossible speed. Her movements were elegant, yet every strike was lethal. She used her hands and feet to disarm the creatures, knocking 2 down with powerful strikes, while Elias' blaster finished the others. When the last predator fell, Elias exhaled heavily. "All right, you're not just a princess," he said. "You're a fighter." Lyra nodded slightly. "I have been trained to face danger, and I do not fear it." Elias hesitated, then gestured toward the cliffs. "We need to move. The energy storms in this area are unpredictable. If we are caught unprepared, we could be trapped, or worse." The 2 of them began walking through the alien forest. The ground pulsed under their feet, and strange plants reached toward them as if curious. Elias' sensors detected pockets of unstable energy, invisible to the eye but deadly if triggered. Lyra moved without hesitation, stepping over glowing vines and sidestepping strange spore clouds. "Your species adapts quickly," she said, observing him. "I've had to," Elias replied. "Exploration isn't about what's easy, it's about survival and learning." They walked in silence for some time, interrupted only by the strange noises of the forest, rustling leaves, distant roars, and the occasional crackle of energy in the sky. Then they reached a cliffside that overlooked a vast valley filled with glowing plants and streams of liquid light. "This planet is incredible," Elias said, awe in his voice. "No human has ever seen anything like this." Lyra's gaze was fixed on the horizon. "It is not just beautiful, it is dangerous, and it holds secrets that must not fall into the wrong hands." Elias turned to look at her. "Secrets? Like what?" Before she could answer, the ground shook violently. A fissure opened near their feet, sending rocks and dust tumbling down the cliff. Elias grabbed Lyra's arm, pulling her back just in time. They fell to their knees as the earth shifted, revealing a deep cavern beneath them. From the darkness came a faint glow. "What is that?" Elias whispered, his curiosity battling the instinct to run. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "That is where we will find the first clue and the first danger." They descended carefully into the cavern. The walls shimmered with strange crystals, casting dancing lights across the underground chamber. Elia's sensors detected movement, but not the kind of movement that belonged to creatures. It was mechanical. Ancient alien machines stirred in the darkness, covered with layers of dust and moss-like growth. "Traps," Lyra muttered. "This place has been abandoned for centuries, yet it still protects itself." Elias nodded. He moved forward slowly, scanning the ground and walls for danger. Suddenly, a loud hiss echoed through the cavern. A section of the floor opened, revealing spinning blades and energy barriers. Elias jumped back, barely avoiding a fatal strike. Lyra leapt over the traps, landing gracefully beside him. "We need to work together," she said. "Your strength and my knowledge of these ruins will be our advantage." Elias smirked, feeling a surge of adrenaline. "I like the sound of that. Let's see what we're really dealing with." They advanced cautiously, navigating the traps one by one. Elias' human ingenuity allowed him to improvise quickly, redirecting energy barriers and blocking moving blades with makeshift tools. Lyra guided him through the safest paths, her instincts impeccable. Step by step, they made their way to a central chamber where a massive crystal hovered above a pedestal. It pulsed with an inner light, illuminating the entire room. "This is it," Lyra said. "The first key. Whoever controls this will have power over the planet's energy." Elias approached the crystal, feeling its warmth through his suit. "And I suppose there will be someone, or something, guarding it." As if on cue, the chamber shook violently. From the shadows emerged a giant sentinel, its metallic body bristling with weapons. Its eyes glowed red, scanning for intruders. Elias and Lyra exchanged a glance. "We fight," Lyra said simply. Elias nodded, his pulse quickening. "Together!" The two charged forward, human and Xipharian, united by courage and necessity. The battle that followed was intense, a mixture of blaster fire, agile maneuvers, and precise strikes. Elias used the environment to his advantage, dodging the Sentinel's massive arms and redirecting energy beams. Lyra struck with incredible speed and strength, exploiting every weakness she could find. After a long struggle, the Sentinel collapsed, sparks flying, leaving the chamber silent once more. Elias and Lyra stood side by side, breathing heavily but victorious. Lyra touched the crystal gently. "The key is ours for now, but more dangers await. We cannot stay here long." Elias looked at her, a mixture of respect and curiosity in his eyes. "You followed me into danger fearlessly. Why?" Lyra's eyes were steady. "Because someone has to. And because I believe in what humans can achieve. You have courage and the mind to face the impossible." Elias nodded slowly, feeling a connection he had never expected. Together, they turned and prepared to leave the cavern, knowing that the journey ahead would be even more dangerous, and that the partnership between human and alien princess was only beginning. Outside, the alien world stretched endlessly, full of unknown threats and untold wonders. Elias took a deep breath, ready for whatever lay ahead. Lyra walked beside him, fearless, unwavering, and determined. And for the first time, Elias realized that perhaps the greatest strength humans had was not just their courage, but their willingness to face the unknown with others they could trust. The glow from the alien planet's twin suns lit the jagged horizon, casting long shadows across. The rocky plains. Captain Elias Vorn and Princess Lyra of the Xipharian Empire moved cautiously, their steps silent on the crystalline soil. The cavern they had just escaped still pulsed with residual energy, a reminder of the dangers lurking beneath the planet's surface. But they could not linger. There was a larger threat, one that neither human nor Xipharian could ignore. Lyra scanned the horizon with her golden eyes, sensitive to energy signatures invisible to human technology. "The Vorath are here," she said, her voice low. "They have been tracking us since the moment we arrived." Elias frowned. "The Vorath? I thought they were just a rumor, a warlike faction that existed far beyond this sector." "They exist," Lyra said firmly. "And they will do anything to prevent humans and Xipharians from forming an alliance. If we fail, both our worlds are in danger." Elias adjusted his gear, checking the blaster on his side and the pulse grenade strapped to his chest. "Then we have no choice. We keep moving. We find a place to prepare and fast." Their path took them through a forest of glowing plants. Each step caused bioluminescent spores to rise like tiny stars, filling the air with soft light. Elias marveled at the beauty, but his mind stayed focused. Danger could strike from anywhere. "Why are you following me?" Elias asked after a moment of silence. "You risked your life back there and now you are still here. Why?" Lyra's gaze met his. Because I believe humans have the courage and the cleverness to survive what is coming. And because I do not fear danger. Elias couldn't help but smile faintly. Fair enough, but you're more than a fighter. You are disciplined, careful, even strategic. Lyra tilted her head. That is expected of a Xipharian. Survival is built into our training. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden rustle in the forest. Elias crouched instinctively, aiming his blaster toward the noise. Lyra moved silently beside him, her presence reassuring. Out of the shadows stepped a group of Vorath scouts, tall, armored figures with energy weapons glowing faintly red. Their movements were swift and coordinated. Elias whispered, "We're outnumbered." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "We are not outmatched. Follow my lead." The battle began immediately. Blaster fire echoed through the forest as Elias and Lyra moved in perfect sync. Elias used his human ingenuity to create distractions, throwing pulse grenades and using reflective crystals to redirect light beams. Lyra moved like a shadow, striking enemies with incredible precision and strength. After several tense minutes, the scouts were incapacitated, but Lyra scanned the area and shook her head. "This was only a scouting team. They are preparing for something larger. We need to move." Elias nodded. "Lead the way." They traveled for hours, following a faint energy signature that Lyra detected. Eventually, they reached a plateau overlooking an ancient Xipharian outpost. It had been abandoned for centuries, but its walls still radiated a faint protective energy. Elias studied it through his sensors. "Looks deserted," he said, "but abandoned doesn't mean safe." Lyra stepped forward. "This is where we will find clues about the Vorath and perhaps tools we can use." Inside, the outpost was quiet but filled with remnants of the past. Broken consoles, frozen holograms of Xipharian generals, and strange devices that hummed faintly. Lyra guided Elias to a central chamber where a massive map of star systems floated in midair. "This map shows Vorath movements," she explained. "If we understand their strategy, we can predict their next attack." Elias examined the map. "They're not just defending, they're hunting us." Lyra nodded. "And not just us. They are determined to crush any hope of unity between humans and Xipharians. We must act before they strike again." As they worked, a sudden vibration shook the floor. Alarm lights flickered. Elias' sensors detected multiple energy signatures approaching rapidly. The Vorath had discovered their location. "They're here," Elias said, raising his blaster. Lyra's golden eyes glinted. "Then we fight." The Vorath breached the outpost, armed with energy rifles and combat drones. Elias and Lyra moved with deadly precision. Elias used the environment, smashing consoles to block corridors and redirecting laser fire. Lyra struck with unerring accuracy, taking down enemies before they could react. During the battle, Elias noticed something unsettling. Some of the Xipharian defense systems had been tampered with. Certain traps that should have activated didn't, and some doors opened unexpectedly, leading enemies straight to them. "Lyra," he shouted over the noise, "someone has betrayed us." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "I feared this. Not all Xipharians remained loyal after the Vorath War. Some are still working in secret to undermine our people." Elias' mind raced. "So we're fighting enemies and traitors." Lyra nodded. "Yes, trust only me and yourself. We cannot rely on anyone else." They fought back to back, covering each other as the outpost erupted in chaos. Energy beams cut through walls, sparks flew, and debris rained down around them. Elias' pulse grenades created bursts of light, blinding enemies temporarily, while Lyra struck with her melee skill and speed, dismantling drones with her bare hands. Finally, the last Vorath soldier fell. The outpost was damaged but still standing. Elias and Lyra took a moment to catch their breath, their faces streaked with dirt and sweat. "That was close," Elias said, wiping his brow. "Too close." Lyra studied him with quiet intensity. "This is only the beginning. The Vorath will not stop. They have a weapon, a device that can destroy planets. We must find it before they use it." Elias swallowed hard. "A planet-destroying weapon? That's impossible." Lyra's expression was serious. "Nothing is impossible for the Vorath. We must be prepared to face it, no matter the cost." Elias felt a mix of fear and determination. He had faced countless dangers in his life, but this was different. This was not just about survival, it was about saving entire worlds. "Then we prepare," Elias said firmly. "We learn everything we can from this outpost. We use it to plan our next move." Lyra led him to a hidden chamber beneath the outpost. There, ancient data crystals glowed faintly. Elias carefully inserted one into his portable scanner. Streams of information filled the air in holographic form, star charts, battle plans, and detailed schematics of Vorath weapons. "This is invaluable," Elias said, his mind racing with possibilities. "With this, we can predict their movements and counterattack strategically." Lyra nodded. "Yes, but we must also train. The Vorath are relentless. If we face them unprepared, we will fail." For the next several hours, Elias and Lyra studied the data and prepared weapons. They ran simulations, practiced combat drills, and formulated strategies. Each moment of preparation strengthened their bond, their respect for one another growing with every challenge they faced together. As the twin suns began to set, casting long shadows across the plateau, Lyra turned to Elias. "Tomorrow we strike. We will find the Vorath's weapon before they can unleash it." Elias nodded, feeling a mix of exhaustion and anticipation. "Then we strike together." They camped atop the plateau, keeping watch over the surrounding land. In the quiet moments, Elias thought about the human courage that had brought him here and the Xipharian discipline that had saved his life more than once. He realized that together, they were stronger than either could be alone. But even as they rested, Elias could not shake a growing unease. The betrayal within the Xipharian ranks meant that danger could come from anywhere. Trust would be their most powerful weapon and their most fragile. In the distance, shadows moved. Unknown observers watched, calculating their next move. The Vorath were planning and time was running out. Elias clenched his fists. "No matter what comes, we fight," he whispered to himself. Lyra, standing beside him, placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Together we will survive, and we will succeed." As the alien night descended, stars shining over the jagged landscape, human and Xipharian prepared for the battles to come. The enemy was near, the threat was real, but the courage of two determined souls burned brighter than the twin suns above. Tomorrow, the real fight would begin. The twin suns had barely risen over the jagged horizon when Captain Elias Vorn and Princess Lyra stood atop a high cliff, overlooking the Vorath's hidden base. The massive structure was carved into an asteroid, its dark metal glinting in the early light. Energy beams stretched between towers, creating a deadly lattice across the surface. Somewhere inside, they knew, the Vorath's ultimate weapon was waiting, capable of destroying entire planets. Elias adjusted his gear and checked his pulse blaster. "So this is it, the big one." Lyra's golden eyes scanned the base. "Yes. This weapon must not be allowed to leave this asteroid. If it does, countless lives will be lost, including humans and Xipharians alike." Elias nodded, determination settling in his chest. "Then we stop it, no matter what it takes." The two of them moved down the cliff carefully, using the jagged rocks for cover. Lyra led the way, her movements silent and precise. Elias followed, adapting quickly to her pace. Despite his training and experience, he had never seen anything like this base, a combination of alien architecture and advanced technology designed for war. They reached a narrow canyon leading into the asteroid. Energy sensors glowed red along the walls, detecting movement. Elias scanned for traps. "We'll have to disable these to get inside." Lyra nodded. "Leave it to me." She approached the sensors with her bare hands, her fingers glowing faintly with Xipharian energy. One by one, the beams flickered and died. "Path is clear," she whispered. Elias exhaled. "You make it look easy." Lyra smirked faintly. "Experience." They entered the base, moving through dimly lit corridors filled with humming machinery. The air was thick with tension. Every corner could hide a Vorath soldier, or worse, a deadly trap. Elias relied on his human ingenuity, improvising from what he had learned in the Xipharian outpost. Lyra used her combat instincts, clearing obstacles silently. Together, they moved like a single unit, anticipating each other's actions. As they approached the central chamber, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed and the doors ahead sealed shut. Vorath soldiers poured in from hidden compartments, their energy weapons aimed with precision. Elias whispered, "We're surrounded." Lyra's eyes burned with determination. "We fight!" The battle erupted immediately. Elias used his environment creatively, flipping control panels to create shields and redirect energy beams. Lyra moved with incredible speed, dismantling soldiers before they could react. Sparks flew as pulse blasts hit metal, and the air vibrated with the hum of alien machinery. In the chaos, Elias noticed a group of soldiers heading for a side hatch. Lyra, they're trying to flank us. Without hesitation, Lyra darted toward them, her movements a blur. She struck with precision, taking down 2 soldiers before they even realized she was there. Elias provided cover fire, redirecting laser blasts to protect her. The combination of human cunning and Zypharian skill proved unstoppable. Finally, the last Vorath soldier fell. The chamber was silent, except for the hum of the massive weapon at its center, a colossal device pulsing with energy capable of annihilating an entire planet. Elias approached cautiously, studying its controls. "This is incredible," he murmured, "and terrifying." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "We must disable it before the Vorath return, but it is protected by multiple security systems. We will need both our skills." Elias nodded. "Then we do this together." For the next hour, they worked in perfect harmony. Elias deciphered alien codes, rerouted power systems, and manipulated the weapon's controls. Lyra provided physical support, moving swiftly to bypass mechanical barriers and protect him from any remaining threats. Their focus was absolute, every action synchronized. Suddenly, a massive Vorath commander appeared in the chamber. He was taller than the soldiers they had faced before, his armor glinting with dark energy. "You will not stop the weapon?" he shouted, raising an energy staff. Lyra stepped forward fearlessly. "Watch us." The commander attacked with incredible speed, swinging his staff in wide arcs of energy. Elias dodged, firing his pulse blaster to distract the commander. Lyra moved like lightning, her strikes precise and unrelenting. The commander countered, but Elias' quick thinking allowed him to use a series of control panels to redirect energy blasts, giving Lyra openings to strike. Step by step, they wore him down. The commander's attacks grew slower, more desperate. Finally, Lyra delivered a precise strike to his armor's weak point, sending him sprawling to the ground. Elias moved quickly to secure the weapon's control panel. "We have seconds before reinforcements arrive," Elias said, his hands flying over the controls. Lyra nodded. "Do it." Elias rerouted the energy flow, creating a feedback loop that would destroy the weapon if activated improperly. He adjusted the system to turn the device's power against the Vorath forces. "It's ready," he said. Lyra moved beside him. "Now!" Together, they activated the feedback. The weapon roared as energy surged through the room. The walls trembled and the asteroid shook violently. Vorath soldiers outside were caught in the blast, their communications disrupted. Elias and Lyra held their ground, shielding themselves as the weapon's energy looped harmlessly within the chamber, neutralized. When the tremors subsided, silence returned. The weapon was disabled and the Vorath base lay in chaos. Elias and Lyra stepped outside, surveying the destruction. Sparks fell from damaged towers and smoke rose into the alien sky. Elias exhaled deeply. "We did it! The weapon, it stopped!" Lyra's eyes softened, a rare moment of relief crossing her face. "Yes. But the war is not over. The Vorath will regroup. We must warn our people and prepare for the next battle." Elias nodded. "And we will face it together, humans and Zypharians." As they prepared to leave the asteroid, Elias looked at Lyra. "You followed me into danger from the very beginning, fearlessly. Why?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Because I believe in courage and in the power of unity. Humans have heart, and together with Zypharians we can face anything." Elias felt a swell of pride. "Then we'll need that heart. The galaxy isn't safe yet, but we'll make it safer." They returned to their ship, the asteroid shrinking behind them as they took off. Across the stars, their alliance became a symbol of hope. Word of their courage spread quickly among human colonies and Zypharian worlds alike. Elias and Lyra's partnership inspired others to face impossible odds with bravery and intelligence. Weeks later, on a newly established human Zypharian command station, Elias and Lyra stood together, looking out at the stars. Messages arrived from colonies they had saved, and humans and Zypharians were already coordinating efforts to defend against future threats. "Do you ever wonder," Elias asked, "what would have happened if we had not worked together?" Lyra's golden eyes met his. "I do not wonder. Because now we know, together we are stronger than any enemy." Elias smiled. "Stronger than any enemy and maybe, just maybe, unstoppable." The twin suns set over the station, casting long shadows. But for the first time, Elias felt that no matter how dark the universe might become, courage, trust, and unity could light the way. As night fell, the stars above glimmered like diamonds, and human and Zypharian ships moved through the galaxy, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Elias and Lyra walked side by side, ready to face the future, fearless, united, and determined.